What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the review roundup for Final Fantasy VII Remake. The reviewers have spoken on this game and it's actually starting out pretty good. Now, the reviews aren't complete. There are going to be more reviews that are added into Metacritic as the day goes along, but so far, out of 37 reviews, the Metascore for Final Fantasy VII Remake is sitting pretty good at an 89, so not bad at all. Now, in these review roundups, we are going to go over some of the top scores and go over some of the mixed scores or lower ones as well, just to kind of give you guys an idea of where the pulse of the review community puts this game at. Now, once again, Final Fantasy VII Remake is definitely more of a reimagining of the original game. It's taking a multi-part structure to it, so you're not going to get all of the story from the original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. What you're going to get is you're going to get kind of like one area that's completely expanded upon and added in new things, and they're changing up stuff. So it's not exactly the same game that you know of. And if you played the game on the PS1, you're in for a completely different experience from a combat and even story-wise compared to what you played before. So I think it's pretty good for newcomers to start out within it, or people who've already played it revisit the world of Final Fantasy VII. So let's go ahead and start off with some of these reviews here, guys, because I'm extremely excited myself to check out the game. I think I'm going to just get it digitally and just play it on Thursday as soon as it goes live at 9 p.m. my time, 12 p.m. Eastern. So far I'm looking at the top scores. It's got a number of perfect scores here. We've got VGC with the perfect score, the 6-axis with the perfect score, GameSpeed with the perfect score, digitally downloaded with the perfect score, Game Revolution, Cultured Vultures, and a number of other sites. But the one that I wanted to read off from one of the bigger sites out there is Gamespot, which a lot of you guys check out as well. And I wanted to read the little blip that they had on there. Quote, regardless of your history with the original game, Final Fantasy VII Remake is an outstanding achievement. The wait for its release was a long one, but in gameplay, story, characters, and music, it delivers. The wait was worth it. For the first-time players, it's an opportunity to understand why Final Fantasy VII is held in such high regard. It's the chance to experience a multifaceted story that grapples with complex subject matter, be it in the company of memorable characters and moved by their plight. For returning fans, this isn't the Final Fantasy VII your mind remembers, it's the one your heart always knew it would be. So, pretty good stuff there. Now, moving down here, we're going to move on to some of the 90s scores. IGN Italia, XGN, Multiplayer.it, WCCF Tech, Shack News, Twinfinite, PlayStation Universe, PSX Sensei, Games Radar Plus, God is a Geek, Destructoid, Eurogamer Italy, EverEye, Attack of the Fanboy, and a couple other sites have all given it ranging scores from up to 95 all the way to 90, so not bad at all. I do want to read Shack News. They gave it a 9 out of 10 or a 90, and here's what they had to say on the matter. Quote, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a masterpiece, a love letter to Final Fantasy VII fans, and homage to one of the greatest games of all time. At its best, it does everything the original did in 1997, revolutionizing the way video game stories can be told and reimagined. So pretty cool stuff there. Very strong words. And I like what they're talking about here. Like I said with many of these reviews and what they're saying, that if you're new, you can see why this game is just held up so high in people's minds and in their hearts. But if you've already played it, it still gives you a different experience. Regardless of how you feel about splitting up the game, it still gives you a great RPG experience from the gameplay and the story and the music and all of that. So I'm very excited to dig into that because I've already played the original game. I thought it was fantastic. Now, I do like other RPGs more, but at the same time, I'm still ready to kind of see what they've done to really overhaul this and make it a different game, but at the same time, feel distinctly Final Fantasy VII, right? Now we're going to move on to the 80s scores here, guys. All right, so we've got True Gaming, we've got DualShockers, which is interesting that DualShockers gave it an 85. I thought it'd be higher from that site, so we'll read off what they had to say in just a bit. Player 2, VG247 with an 80 or an 8 out of 10, or I think it was more of a 4 out of 5 what they do at that site. RPG site with an 80. Stevior, and I probably said that wrong. Push Square, IGN Japan, Critical Hit, and Daily Star, all with 8s, all with 8 scores. So I want to read off what DualShockers had to say here. So, Quote, Final Fantasy VII Remake is arguably the best non-MMO Final Fantasy game released in a very long time. Despite my qualms, it's been a welcome reunion. So you probably have to go there to see what those qualms are with this game. But they did give it a respectable and very good 8 out of 10, or 8.5 out of 10, I should say, more like it. So not bad. I'm also going to read what VG247 has to say, another huge site based in Europe as well. And they said, quote, at times it felt almost overwhelming to actually be playing it, like Square Enix had a game specifically for me. I just wish the loyalty to the source material lasted throughout. Despite that, there's no denying that this is the best Final Fantasy has been in a long time. So they're basically just saying, yeah, you know that game, Final Fantasy 15? Yeah, that game, not as good as this one right here. So I think that's pretty clear to see that this game is probably a bit better than Final Fantasy 15. But I think that if Final Fantasy 15 launched in how it is not at this point, maybe it would have been looked at differently, but who knows? I mean, woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever, right? There's that saying. So let's go ahead and move on to the lower tier scores here, guys. These are people that gave it under an 80. So we have 270s or 7 out of 10s. Then we have a 6 out of 10, or maybe it's a 3.5 from EGM. I'm not exactly sure, but that's just the way that they do the ratings here. So Gamer.no gave it a 7 out of 10. Gaming Bible gave it a 7 out of 10, and EGM gave it a 60. So let's go ahead and read off what EGM had to say here. So, quote, Final Fantasy VII Remake manages to balance the introduction of new concepts with faithfully recreations of the original game's most memorable aspects, but it also unnecessarily pads out the first installment in a larger story with too much downtime between its most striking moments. So that was kind of the thing that some people were worried about. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're not really leaving Midgar, we're not having all the access to the characters. Like, it seems like this game is being padded out with the extra stuff just so they can expand upon it, because it's going to take too much money to do what they want to do with the story and the graphics and the gameplay, and they need to charge way more than $60 for this game, so they're padding it out. So we do have a couple people seemingly kind of calling that out here, but mostly if you look at it from its own experience, everyone's saying that, hey, this is still really good and you still get your money's worth for your $60 that you're paying. So I think at the end of the day, that's what's important, right? Are you getting your money's worth for what you're paying? So I think this game definitely hits that notch. So let's go ahead and read one more here from one of the lower tiered scores, which 70 or 7 out of 10 isn't a bad score. It's just obviously not as high as some people would think for this type of game. So let's go ahead and read off what Gaming Bible has to say on the matter. Quote, if you've been raised on a diet of the very best role players of the past 10 years or so, Remake may struggle to hold your attention as it streamlines itself into a tunnel vision state, failing to see the bigger picture of what could have been. Fingers, toes, and chocobos crossed, then that part 2 sees the promise of Remake Project fully blossom. So what they're saying here, it's almost kind of like a Final Fantasy 13 situation, right? Remember Final Fantasy 13, to where it's kind of like tunnel vision-ish, right? You kind of going straight and you're fighting and just doing things, and then once you get to like that third disc, if it's like the Xbox 360 or that later part on the PlayStation 3 Blu-ray, the game opens up into Grand Pulse. So that's what maybe Gaming Bible is saying, like, hey, you don't get that fully blossoming part. Yes, there's some good areas, there's some good stuff that shows promise, but probably in the second part, they're going to make it towards even more expanded and having a bigger world and all of that. So they're saying, they're kind of knocking it for, once again, being multi-part and saying, hey, you're splitting things up. And I can understand that. I think I can understand both sides when it comes down to it. The people that are saying, hey, this game is clearly being padded out and being split up so they can make more money because of the graphics and all that stuff. And yeah, I totally get that. But then I can also see the side of, well, for your $60, this game right here is really, really, really good. The gameplay's really good, the combat's really good, the story, music, characters, all that's really good. So it's definitely worth a high score. So I see it both ways, and to be honest, most of the scores here are overwhelmingly positive. So far, I'm trying to just like refresh to see if any more scores have came in. So actually, yeah, we do have a lot more scores. Even from when I just first started talking about this, it went from 37 to 54 review scores as of the time that I'm recording this video, and it actually went down. So the overall Metacritic score, we have a live update as I'm doing my video, it went down from 89 to 87 with 54 critic reviews. And I think where it's kind of getting knocked a little bit, it's getting a lot more 8s. It's getting a lot more 8s than maybe people would have thought it would have gotten. It's not getting any more negative or under 80 review scores, but yeah, a lot more 8s are kind of coming in through from different sites, or like 83s or 8.3s, 8.4s, stuff like that. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Otherwise, we can just keep on waiting for more reviews. But yeah, 87 right now, which is still really good Metacritic score. Not bad at all. I was expecting this game to do very well based on some of the people that I've spoke with, and it does seem like it's going to be a great experience. 87 is a very good score. I think that you're going to have a lot of fun if you play it. Yes, there might be some issues, which some of the outlets did mention, but for the most part, people are saying this game is absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to see where this goes in the future, despite also my own issues that I have. I'm still going to be picking it up day one, still going to be playing the game, and I think it's going to be fantastic. So what are you guys' thoughts on the review scores so far for Final Fantasy VII Remake? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there and stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace!